This is Friday, week 5, and we are looking at combining sentences to make one nice sentence. And so we'll start with number 1. Alexander Graham Bell began to teach deaf children in 1863. He invented the telephone in 1875. Real simple here. We have two independent clauses. We have Alexander Graham Bell began to teach deaf children in 1863, and then he invented the telephone in 1875. Combine this real easily, comma, and then a conjunction. So Alexander Graham Bell began to teach deaf children in 1863, comma, and he invented the telephone in 1875. One last thing we want to do is make a small h, not a capital H, and we can move on. Number 2, you can borrow movies from the library. You can only have 2 at a time. So you can borrow movies from the library, comma, but you can only have 2 at a time. So that puts our two independent clauses together and makes another compound sentence. Number 3, a lot of prepared food contains salt. It's not a good idea to eat a lot of prepared food. Here's where we use one of those uncommon coordinating conjunctions. A lot of prepared food contains salt, comma, probably go here with so it's not a good idea. Okay, probably with so it's not a good idea instead of and, but, or. That's where we want to use one of those other ones like so. Number 4, deciduous trees lose their leaves every year. Evergreen trees do not lose their leaves. Deciduous trees lose their leaves every year, comma, and since we have a contrasting statement, we'd say, but evergreen trees do not lose their leaves. And finally, Pam's family lives in Chicago, period. They used to live in Denver, period. Pam's family lives in Chicago, comma, but they used to live in Denver. Now, that's how you'd make compound sentence out of all of those. You could go ahead and make complex sentences too. You could say something like, for number 4, deciduous trees lose their leaves every year, but evergreen trees do not. You could say like something like, although deciduous trees lose their leaves every year. Okay, now you've made that a dependent clause because you put that although on there, so that part right there is dependent, but evergreen trees do not lose their leaves. So you could do something like that. You'd get rid of the but in that situation, get rid of the conjunction, so it'd just be although deciduous trees lose their leaves every year, evergreen trees do not lose their leaves. You could have done that with a couple of them, and that would make it a complex sentence instead of compound. Either way is fine. You're combining the sentences together, and that's kind of the goal. So that is all for Friday, week 5.